This is troubling. Now I have to reconsider my approach to Demon Lord Rimuru. Rimuru was a greater threat than Gadra had imagined. How would he tackle the problem now? His grudge over the betrayal and murder of his best friend still burned within him, so he had no intention of cooling his vendetta against Luminism. However, the ones he had an axe to grind with in particular, the 7 luminary clerics, were already dead. Given the situation, it took the wind out of his sails in terms of destroying the West. It had been this common interest that Gadra and the Empire shared, which formed the foundation of their cooperative relationship. And once that crumbled, Gadra had no reason to stick with the Empire. No, there's still one more reason: the god who is the ultimate target of my vengeance, and very much still exists, Demon Lord Luminous. Gadra remembered his friend who died because of his faith in that god, a demon lord who masqueraded as a god. He couldn't tolerate the existence of that demon lord any longer. Stewing in his enmity, Gadra decided to continue his plan with renewed determination. Or, he was about to. Gadra-sama, I may be asking for too much, but I beg of you to halt your plan. Raisin had been eyeing Gadra before throwing this curveball. To this day, I hold pride as your loyal disciple. However, my loyalty is even greater to my lord. If you stir up trouble in that country, I will have to consider you an enemy. Could you be talking about Demon Lord Rimuru? No, my master is one of his subordinates, Diablo-sama. Gadra was taken aback by what he heard. Raisin was a proud disciple of his. It was hard to believe that such a man would meekly submit to a mere subordinate of a demon lord. I know it's not my place to interrupt you, sir, interjected out of the blue, but since you're on the topic, allow me to mention that this Diablo he's talking about was the demon that defeated me. A demon stronger than me. It's hard to believe, but if it was able to bring Raisin to heel, I can't count that out. Even then, he didn't think that he would lose against this demon. Still, he engraved the name Diablo in his mind. Gadra-sama, please let me tell you one more thing. Diablo-sama is an ancient demon. Just as I thought. Since he was able to defeat you, he's probably of the ancient species. Or worse, he could even be a prehistoric demon, which are exceptionally rare. It wouldn't be strange for the demon to exhibit power exceeding that of a demon lord, especially if it were named. No, he was far stronger than the demons of those levels. He claimed to be a demon piercer, murmured. That's absurd. Gadra nearly shouted. There was a limit on evolutions for demons. That was the absolute rule, and as far as Gadra knew, there was only one demon who had defied this law. The archdemon who evolved further and became a demon peer. That demon was the strongest and most terrible of demon lords, the Lord of Darkness, Ki Crimson. Gadra-sama, my master, Diablo-sama, has no need to discuss how long he has lived. You know what that means, right? Raisin asked, but his voice was drowned out by Gadra's thoughts swirling in his head. I can't believe this. No, I don't want to believe this. Is he a primordial? Gadra murmured with a sinking feeling in the pit of his stomach. Raisin answered with ruthless certainty. Yes. I see. Gadra tried to piece together the truth while calming his mind. If that was really the case, then it was only natural for Raisin to serve him. It also wouldn't take much to believe that a primordial evolved into a demon peer if it had received a body. Taking their story at face value, it would call for drastic revisions to the Empire's Great Expedition plan. Considering how Blanc haunted the Empire, it went without saying how troublesome the primordials were. No, wait a minute. When a primordial receives a body, a tragedy is bound to follow. So why haven't I heard anything till now? This thought struck him as he began to regain his composure. Wait. Whether Diablo is primordial or not is beside the point. Taking his triumph over Raisin to be true, it would follow that he's, at the very least, a demon peer. But what he overheard from the conversation between Yaum and the others chilled him to the bone. Diablo Dono is boss's butler. Some time ago, I rushed over to celebrate the maiden journey of the train, and there, I heard that he had scouted some acquaintances to work for him, since he'd grown tired of doing the chores on his own. Oh, if you mean that woman, then I'm sure I've seen her. I ran into her at the council meeting because boss had appointed her as his military attaché. The one with pure white hair and beautiful crimson eyes. She was drop-dead gorgeous. Gadra slumped back helplessly in his chair. Is this a joke? That description matches that of Blanc 1-to-1. That bombshell put it over the line, proving the story authentic, as well as a terrible nightmare for Gadra. He glanced at Raisin, who returned a confident nod. Is this true? I would not lie to you, master. Suddenly it struck him. Gadra realized that they were telling the truth and earnestly trying to steer him away from sailing towards his own demise by starting this war. Is it really that dangerous? The answer was a silent nod from all who were there. Seeing that, Gadra paled as he remembered the trio who had gone to Tempest. Oh, I dearly hope the boys haven't screwed this up already. The capital of Tempest, Rimuru, was bustling with life. It was a thriving city that could very well be called a metropolis. Even from the perspective of Shinji's crew, who were all otherworlders themselves, they found it to be highly developed and devoid of medieval drawbacks. Aside from the Empire's capital of Nazca, its surrounding cities were filled with the stench of animals. Here, however, there was nothing of the sort, much to their surprise. I thought we were going to be welcomed by an empty plot of land aside from a gate, or are we at the wrong place? I doubt it. Either they can change this place however they want, or the spies we sent were hallucinating. If so, then we can't let our guard down. They shared a quick look and braced themselves. Kaguli had dropped them off here through the elemental magic warp portal, since she had visited Tempest before. Although she didn't stay long and swiftly went back to the Empire, there was nothing to worry about since they had already arranged a return trip. Once they were finished, they were to meet up with Gadra, who would bring them back home using magic. Until then, they were ordered not to pull any reckless stunts and investigate every nook and cranny. The three of them were no fools. It went without saying that they were going to do just as they were ordered. Lady Kaguli is really hot. Hey, Shinji, your girlfriend will dump you if you keep talking like that, you know. Girlfriend? I don't have one. If I did, my life would have been way better. Hey. Don't bother Mark. He's just too slow on the uptake. Mark and Sheen both shrugged as Shinji bemoaned his loss. They carried on with their banter while passing through the entry check at the city's gate. Thanks to the Freedom Association IDs which Yuuki had prepared for them, they were allowed to enter the country more smoothly than they had expected, requiring only a brief explanation about their purpose for entering. After that, they secured a room at an inn and went sightseeing, under the pretext of collecting information. The three of them were astonished by what they saw. As otherworlders, the three of them possessed considerable power that afforded them several privileges in this world. But they were limited in their ability, unable to act as freely as Demon Lord Rimuru, even if they wanted to. Yuuki went to great lengths to make improvements in the food situation and living conditions, which also spread throughout the vast empire, but even those mammoth efforts paled in comparison to the strides this country had made. Shinji, who was quite familiar with the situation, was less surprised and more amazed by it. Takoyaki, okonomiyaki, and yakisoba were just the beginning. There were also a wide variety of pastries to be had, such as crepes and cakes. A handful of extremely pricey treats also lined the shelves, leading one to wonder where the ingredients even came from. From food stalls and coffee shops to fine dining restaurants, the lineup exuded a passion for food and the tastes from the original world. Residents of this world, who might have been confused at first, appeared to have gotten accustomed to the wide variety of cuisines. Shinji, for one, cried tears of joy when he laid eyes on a curry rice restaurant. Plumbing and toilets were set up perfectly. The inns also couldn't have been more comfortable. There was also a public bath, which had become a popular pastime. I think I'll stay here. Hey, can we, not return to the Empire? Mark asked. Hey. No, sorry I was, just kidding. Don't take it the wrong way, Shinji. I'm not mad, I'm just wondering if I could seriously consider it. I want to live here as well. The three of them looked at each other and sighed. Long had they lived under the impression that the Empire was the forerunner in civilization and modern comforts in the whole world. But now, after seeing this country, they had become disillusioned. The town was lively, and the food was tasty. Not only did it feel comfortable to live here, but there was also no shortage of entertainment and a rich culture, providing plenty of opportunities to enjoy themselves. These pleasures were all based on the ones from their previous worlds, and in contrast to the harsh lives they had led till now, these guys were overcome with nostalgia. The Empire also had cultural centers and various forms of entertainment to speak of, but those were made for the nobility, and they weren't free like in this city, meaning they were prohibitively expensive for a commoner. Compared to that, this city was. No, we absolutely can't. Yeah. Yuki-san won't be cool with it, and Master Gadra is, frankly, too scary to deal with. Besides, the war is on the horizon. The firing squad is all that awaits defectors. Yes. The war would soon break out. This city would obviously be a target, there was no way it could escape undamaged. The trio was well aware how powerful the military of the Empire was, and believed that this country wouldn't stand a chance against it. With heavy hearts they swallowed their doubts and, true to their mission, set out to challenge the Labyrinth. So, Hiro Masayuki finally managed to break through the 50th floor, but I must say, this is too easy. Haha, that makes sense. After all, Yuki-san said that Masayuki wasn't particularly strong. But his skill shouldn't be underestimated. I mean, that's probably why he was able to conquer it. He slowly but surely challenged it, taking him more than half a year to break through. They tittle-tattled as they passed through the 40th floor. Initially, they were constantly on guard inside the dungeon, but now their tension had eased. They gathered information in advance to avoid taking risks, but now Shinji and crew felt that the dungeon was heavily based on game mechanics. Sheen seemed to have had no connection with games, but Shinji and Mark were avid gamers. Shinji, in particular, was an RPG enthusiast who loved adventure titles and had managed to enjoy them in between his studies at the university. In light of this knowledge, they could best describe this dungeon as nothing but a plaything, its challengers certainly being the targets of someone's devious schemes. Nevertheless, this was all familiar to those in the know. Shin Liuxing was good at detecting traps, and with Shinji's assistance, he managed to pick them all out. As long as the traps were taken care of, the strength of the monsters wasn't much of a threat. I guess the challengers had a hard time conquering it due to their lack of knowledge. That's right. I did mock this as an obstacle course, but that's exactly what this is. If you can decipher the malicious intentions of the creator, you can just sneak past that stuff. And it doesn't even kill you. While they were collecting information, they had heard about the resurrection bracelet. You could get one for free like a one-time deal from the reception desk. With the bracelet equipped, you would revive back at the entrance upon dying in the labyrinth, so they were told. That immediately had them intrigued. It was somewhat hard to digest, like they had stumbled upon a comedy show inside this serious world. The problem was that they didn't know how deep this dungeon was. Even though they wanted to conquer it in one go, the rations they brought were limited. The trio were at a loss about how much food they had to pack for the exploration, and an unexpected solution to this problem came from the reception desk. "Oh, you don't have to worry about that," the receptionist assured them, then explained at great length. "When you see the stairs, you will find an entrance to the inn, where you can stay for a fee. So you guys don't have to rack your brains over rations. Rimuru-sama said only snacks up to 300 yen. I have no idea what that means, but it must be important. Oh yeah, there are merchants waiting in the inn, so they can buy the stuff you don't need, you know." Shinji repressed his urge to shout, "Hurry it up, we don't need to hear about the snacks." The last thing he needed was getting charged with insolence for shouting profanity.